Jessie Hill joins us now. She's a professor of law at Case Western Reserve University. Professor, I'd like to get your take on how oral arguments at the Supreme Court went today. And do you think that they'll shed any light on what kind of outcome we'll see?
Well, thank you for having me. It is always dangerous to predict anything based on oral arguments, but I would have to say that after listening today, there were certainly no surprises as to where the individual justices stand on this issue. And certainly based on the questioning that I heard this morning, it seems like Roe v. Wade is very much at risk and is very likely to be overturned by this Supreme Court.
Why do you think it would be overturned? And is there a real possibility that that could happen?
Absolutely. There is absolutely a very real possibility. The Supreme Court right now is divided between 6 conservative justices and 3 liberal justices. One of those conservative justices, Chief Justice John Roberts, seems like he was really looking for a compromise position today between overturning Roe v. Wade and keeping the existing law protecting abortion rights as it is. But he really seemed to be the only one who was interested in finding that middle ground position. The other 5 conservative justices seemed entirely uninterested, and really based on their questioning, it looked like they were ready to overturn that case.
I think a lot of people want to know if this court can make a decision that is not political or perceived as political. Has this court become political?
That was certainly very much on the minds of the justices today. I think it's fair to say that when they are thinking about overturning a precedent, especially one as important as Roe, they usually ask whether something significant has changed in the time since that opinion was decided. And the truth is here, nothing meaningful has changed except for who is on the court. And I do believe that the decision is going to look highly political and very well may be highly political if the Supreme Court decides to reverse course and take away the right to abortion in this case.
Professor, how do U.S. abortion laws compare to others in the world as people around the world watch what is happening here? Could a decision have any kind of impact on a global scale?
Well, other countries' courts have traditionally looked to the U.S. as a source of ideas and possible lawmaking for their own courts at times. So what the Supreme Court does here could possibly have an impact. I mean, I think that the U.S. is somewhat of an outlier with respect to abortion in a lot of ways. And one of those is that although we protect abortion access until fairly late in pregnancy, we don't provide the other sorts of supports around abortion, widespread liberal access, payment through state insurance for the procedure that makes the U.S. very different from other countries. So some other countries, for example, in Europe, may have nominally earlier cutoffs than the U.S. in terms of the right to abortion, but they have easier access to abortion and also very broad exceptions that often allow people to access the procedure at any stage.
About 20, 30 seconds left, but very quickly, what happens next here?
Well, we expect to hear or see a decision out of the U.S. Supreme Court in June, most likely, of 2022. And then that decision could have immediate impacts. If the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, there could be an immediate loss of access in some states across the country.
And then politically, we have midterm elections a few months later. Professor Jessie Hill, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight.